Hello, everybody. Welcome to ESC Collegiate League of Legends featuring your Miami University Redhawks. Today, we are up against Western Michigan Esports. My name is Jason J. Allen,
And I am Devin the Doc O'Connor.
and we have a great match for you today. Miami is sitting pretty at 3-1, while Western Michigan is sitting at a 2-2 record. And we are ready to jump into game right away here. Again, we don't have draft for you, unfortunately, due to spectator client issues, but we are able to get right into game right now. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So we, as usual, are going to start by talking about the drafts today.
Okay.
So,
We
um,
see Aatrox. That's one of the things we
yes,
were
we
going to
do. I
mention.
do want to apologize actually because since Spectator Client had this weird bug, Miami, even though it's listed that we are on the right side of the map, it's actually getting switched now. So my production studio heard me. So Miami on the left, Western Michigan on the right. We can see Western Michigan going for a 5-man into the jungle with this Ivern jungle. In fact, let's start there.
Yeah, look at the Gwen. I
Yeah,
mean,
Gwen jungle for Evil Lobster, something that I don't think we've ever seen Evil Lobster play,
no.
at least professionally. Up against Akalix on this Ivern jungle, which is going to be super interesting matchup. The top side of the map, off stream, we've been talking about Mechi's Aatrox. Western Michigan typically will find success when Mechi is ahead in this game, and his Aatrox is something you don't want to mess with. This However, Paul Springer's on the Darius.
Yeah, that's a pick he's really comfortable on. Matchup's not too bad. He can really win in those extended trades. Looks like he is starting a really aggressive spot
Right.
here.
Yeah, I think he knows that like if Ivern's gonna be here, it won't be much of an issue, and he definitely wins the 1v1, procced bone plating, and then just sort of walks away. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, as we're seeing right now, Irelia mid up against the Vagar from Quagert. Quagert loves these scaling, like uber scaling mid
Yeah,
lane mages, and Vagar is exactly that. Up against an Aurelia, though, which is an interesting matchup. Cage is going to be the key in that matchup.
I agree.
So
Yeah.
if it's burned early, then it can be an issue.
Aurelia is a champion that is interesting because it gets countered by a lot of things, and it can be really tough. You will usually consistently have a CS lead over your opponent, but it is hard, especially with the cage, to dash around that fight. But dodging skill shots is going to be something that this Aurelia is going to be wanting to do. Darius getting the early pressure, no surprise there, just on the wave. Good
Yeah.
trade coming out from Paul D. Springer,
Yeah,
getting
he's
those stacks.
stacking the Hemo Plague, and it's
Or
a
just the
lot.
bleed. The
Yeah, the
hemoplague is
Hemo Plague is
the
Vladimir.
hemoplague is Vladimir.
Applying so much pressure onto this Ivern. That's sort of what I expected to happen with this jungle matchup. Meanwhile, in the bot side of the map, we have NTSP back on the Varus. We've seen him play a lot of games on the Varus, paired with the Renata, which is pretty classic pairing.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Typically, you go on hit for the boost from Renata bailout, but can totally see him going in a different direction this game. As for the other side on Western Michigan, it's the Ash and Nautilus, another classic bot lane duo.
Yes. I mean, like I said last time, I do like the on hit variation. Oh, more stacks being
More,
applied.
yeah. Paul D. Springer can apply so much pressure in this lane against Aatrox. I think Miami knew that Meshi would lean towards the Aatrox pick, and I wouldn't be surprised if they totally counterpicked with the Darius. I mean, Darius is all in on Aatrox, has to win almost 90% of the time.
Hmm.
Um, and especially even after items start getting built up. So that's why Akalix is sort of shadowing in this lane. And Paul D. Springer might find him here. The root caller could be used to catch him off guard. They know he's in Pixel Brush. Here comes Akalix now. Paul D. Springer knows he's in trouble. Rootcaller misses. The shields start procking. Look how much Paul D. Springer is healing, but can he get out of this? He flashes away from the Darkened Blade, but it's
Oh,
not enough. First Blood is going to go over to Akalix.
yeah, he was in a really tough spot, being in that bush. And then when the Iron hopped out of his bush, he knew he was in a really rough spot. So he tried his best to get back in that trade, get the 5 stacks so he could get the buff, but just wasn't enough to match the early game. The Iron shield's going to be really impactful, and yeah, unlucky there for Paul D. Springer.
It won't mean that they get a free setup for Grubs yet, though, because they weren't up, and Akalix is going to reset here. Mid lane is getting pushed in quite a lot, actually, by Kylon, which I'm actually kind of surprised about, although Vagar's early minion damage isn't the best. He needs a little bit of AP before he can start actually one-shotting those waves and clearing very quickly, while Irelia can sort of just stack up and then push the wave.
Yeah. And yeah, it is going to take a little bit longer for them to get online. But I think despite the Darius, I really like the scaling from the side of Miami. I mean, Gwen is a monster late game. That's well known. Vigar kind of speaks for itself. And then the Renata just offers this team so much value with the hostile takeover, the bailout, everything. It's just really good.
Right. Here comes Evil Lobster top lane. There's already so many stacks onto Meshi, who's forced to flash away quickly to response to Evil Lobster, and nothing more will happen there.
The way I see Miami playing this out, hopefully, learning from their experiences last time, playing the game a bit slower, trying to
Hmm.
just outscale. Because I mean, I see them just winning in the late game. The Gwen can really match the Aatrox a lot in team fights. We've seen this a lot of times, and yeah, I really like Miami's chances. So
Right. I totally
yeah,
agree. I think it's going to have to do with objective control, though, as we see Western Michigan already capitalizing on the lost gank in topside and getting some grubs. They're going to be able to take all three here. But looking towards Dragon are going to be really important for Miami to start getting at least one or two in the early game so that they can at least have that barrier to
yeah,
help them stall the game. Because you're looking at these champions, you need 2 to 3 items on almost all of them.
yeah,
Except maybe Darius, who can try to fish his way into a lead. Western Michigan's really the one that wants to get the lead early and then snowball. While
yeah.
Miami's okay with sitting back, just farming, pushing waves like they're doing bot lane, and farming it out and trying to get to those 2 to 3 item power spikes. But that's going to be hard to get to if they drop all those objectives.
I agree, and I think we've seen Miami struggle a bit with the Ash arrows in the past. So
Hmm.
even if they are able to kind of stomp this bot side, we do see a quite a bit of CS lead in the lane, and we do have a bit of buffering on the stream here. Just forgive us for that. Um, but yeah, I think it is going to be difficult still for Miami if they don't, pick up these early objectives. And it looks like Western Michigan is going to be opting to just kind of force all these objectives, and Miami isn't really seeming to contest.
Right. Western Michigan, very good to capitalize. They noticed that Miami pretty much reset in mid, jungle, and bot lane at the same time. And so they said, okay, well, we can just take this dragon for free. And that's exactly what they did. Akalix is bot lane, trying to help just push out this wave. Root Caller will not land. Miami's forced to play back here. They just want Western Michigan to get a reset off here. And that's exactly what is going to happen. So Akalix helps out the bot side. Quagert doing what he does best and just getting those stacks. Meanwhile, topside, Evil Lobster is here. Remember, Meshi does not have flash available. He has ulted, but I don't know if he's going to get out of this so easily. The Noxian Guillotine will seal the deal. Pauly Springer is able to pick up a kill.
A good crossplay from Miami, knowing the jungler is not going to be topside to match. And just well played. Waiting for the ult to expire. Didn't have flash. No way out.
Right, and I mean, looking towards the spot side of the map, I'm sort of expecting nothing major to happen at any point. Although
Ooh,
that's a lot of damage going on
yeah.
to Typhry.
I would have liked for Valencia there to maybe see if she could queue back, because I'd see an opportunity maybe for a dive. I mean, there wasn't a super significant wave, but I think with the Vara stacks, you could. I mean, we saw the damage. The passive popped, and maybe they could get a kill. But they are just going to get some platings here. It's good pressure
Ooh,
in
Chain of
lane.
Corruption does go wide. They were looking for a kill under the turret there. We'll just apply a little bit of pressure and put Prince at half health. Meanwhile, topside, Paldy Springer might be in trouble again. There's so much action happening in this top side of the map. Root Caller will not land, though, and the Ivern is just going to help push the wave once again, as Ivern will tend to do in ganks.
Yeah, Paulie Springer getting behind the wave, not really under threat from the W from the Aatrox. I'm surprised he did that. The Aatrox didn't just slam that
Ooh,
down.
Kylon is looking here. Quaker is going to put up the cage, so nothing much will happen. We'll just get a few more stacks.
Good trade back from Quaker. It's surprising. And one thing I would like to notice or point out is that Quaker is doing a fantastic job of keeping up with the CS of this Aurelia. Really, matching in every aspect, which is not something that you see very often. Aurelia is notorious for gathering pretty easily CS leads over her opponent. So really well done from Quaker.
Western Michigan is all moving towards the top side of the map. They've even called up the Nautilus. So they're really looking to secure
The
6
grubs.
grubs
Yeah.
total as they start to spawn here. Meanwhile, Evil Lobster's on the bot side of the map, as well as Valencia. They're looking to clear our vision around Dragon. So looks like they are going to just be giving up these grubs. But
That's a little
first,
dangerous.
Quaker is being looked on. Nautilus is in the mid lane. Valencia is there to back him up, and the cage sort of gets him out scot free.
Yeah.
But with him forced to take a reset now, Grubs is 100% going to be taken here by Western
Yeah,
Michigan.
Eva Lobster on Vision, not really an opportunity to really contest here. Uh, I mean, it's a little scary. I mean, Aatrox not really a notorious split push champion. They aren't gonna get a ton of like crazy value out of the grubs. And oftentimes, I mean, like if you think about the grubs versus the dragon, you always want to take the dragon side of the trade. Oh, but Paulie Springer is gonna be engaged on by the Nautilus.
Yeah, the depth charge comes out, but maybe he bit too much he can chew. Evil Lobster is here with the needlework. Will deal a fair bit of damage, so it's a trade of ults in the top side. Akalix is here. Root Caller does land. I don't think Western Michigan wants to really go in on that, though, and both sides of the map will just sort of back off. Meanwhile, bot side, the hostile takeover tries to land onto Prince. It will not, but it's going to push her off of this turret, and that's more plates probably going over to Miami
Look at
here.
this lane kingdom from bot lane. Almost, I mean, like halfway done chewing through this plating, not really having a lot of gank pressure either, just winning the lane by themselves naturally. And you really like to see that. I think NTSP didn't really see him come alive a lot in the last series. But really showing him and Valencia the lane prowl that they can get even when left alone.
Right? That's like 3, 4 plates going over to Miami's side, and Quaker's going to be able to pick up a plate mid lane as well. So in terms of turret pressure, Miami is most definitely ahead. They actually have just over a 1K gold advantage this early into the game, even with the kills tied at 1. With Dragons spawning shortly here, though, we're going to have to see what the play is. Quaker could be caught out here. Root Caller just barely misses him. And Cage is going to land. He's still in a rough spot, though. Here comes Daisy, who's going to start smacking Quaker.
This
Has
looks
no Cage
good.
available, but Atlas is taken dangerously low, and he will fall to the Vagar ultimate. Meanwhile, top lane big trades are happening, but it won't look like they're going to continue. Both Conquerors have been fully stacked. With the enemy jungler dead, 50 seconds on Drake, Miami is able to set up here.
Yeah, and really well played there for Quaker, dodging all the skill shots of the Ivern and kind of forcing him and his team to
Oh,
overextend.
but Paldy Spring is taken dangerously low. He will heal a bit.
Pop the ghost.
Popped the ghost as well. Overall, though, Miami is able to pick up a dragon, and this is exactly what we've been looking for.
Mountain Soul.
Right, and it is going to be Mountain Drake. Mountain Soul is going to be huge for both of these teams. Mountain Soul is extremely effective. Flash comes out from Kylon, responded by Paul D. Springer, but the chain lands onto him, and they will be able to pick up the kill. Paul D. Springer, I mean, talk about the top lane island. Not much of an island this game. It's really so much pressure is going up into top side.
And I think look at the value that Aatrox is getting from these plated steel caps. Despite having like kind of an even trade, and Paulie Springer hitting a lot of his abilities onto this Aatrox, he's not really taking a lot of damage.
Mhm.
He seems so tanky. So yeah, it is tough.
And no heal cut yet purchased by either team, so that's going to be something to look out for. Needlework used here by Evil Lobster, but the flaming chains by Aatrox are just going to pick him out. Enchanted Crystal Arrow into depth charge though onto Valencia is pretty dangerous, but they don't really have a lot of damage. The hostile takeover comes out and they will eventually take her down.
Yeah, not much you can do, just the layering of CC there. It's really difficult for her, even with the disengage of the hostile takeover, to get out of that situation. Just layering, Nautilus Q coming in one after the other. So, I mean, this Ivern it's kind of set up a
Oh,
tent
they're
bot
looking
side.
for a dive on top lane. Here comes Evil Lobster. Paul D. Springer is going to secure the kill onto Meshi. So a good response by Evil Lobster in the top lane. Sort of try and get something out of a failed bot
Look at
lane.
these grubs, though. I mean,
Yeah, they're
we
taking a lot.
we see the value. I mean, with these turret plates still being up, they're able to just kind of munch through that tower with that damage over time, the true damage on the turret. So yeah, it is a bit dangerous, giving those grubs over. But as long as they can keep their dragon pile up,
Right. Akalix is still here. Root Caller goes wide. Here comes Daisy, though. The dredge line will connect onto NTSB, who has the bailout on him, but it might have been hit too early. Daisy is still smacking. Meanwhile, over on the top side of the map Quaker is going to pick up another kill while, oh my gosh, the Primordial Burst is able to finish off the Nautilus as well. Now Akalix has to run away for his life. He's going to mention that top side of the map, Rift Herald is being taken as well. A fantastic TP from Quaker to save that fight.
Yeah, really well played. Able to just kind of take over the fight with his cage. And NTSP gets out with his life. The bailout kind of prevented them from going in for the last hit. So really well played.
Right, and Kylan's able to get some hits onto this turret, but plating went down. So I don't even know if he was actually able to get any of the turrets.
And
And
there's
it does mean that first turret gold still goes over to Miami, which is sort of what we expected from how much this bot lane has been able to push.
yeah, and look at this consistent CS leads in almost every lane. I think yeah, every lane has a CS lead on the side of Miami. So really great laning phase from all of the lanes here. Um,
Right, it's just under a 3K gold lead for Miami this
yeah,
early in the game is actually pretty strong for them. Especially because we were saying Miami's really looking to scale. They're looking to take their time. They want to get to 2 to 3 items, while Western Michigan really wants to get ahead. What they're betting on with scaling is really the Ivern to
yeah.
just sort of try and keep this Aurelia and this Aatrox alive. It's going to be super annoying to deal with. So I'm really going to be paying attention to Miami's itemization this game. See if we see anything like. I mean, Varus is going on hit this game, but if you were going lethality, I would suggest a Serpent's Fang,
Yeah, Serpent's Fang value is really great in this
right, or
game.
just some sort of heal cut is definitely something Miami might want to look forward
Aurelia,
to.
Aatrox, Ivern. Yeah, I think that is warranted. Um, and Quaker, getting that roam into the bot side or that TP into the bot side and getting those 3 kills is going to be insane and speeding up his scaling and his stacking. So I'm curious to see, if we can get a count on his stacks right now, how far he is already. Seems like he's stacking really quite well. And that is, I think, almost just shy of 200.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. So really good. I mean, I'm also interested to see his build. Typically, when I see Vagar played, people tend to fall into the full AP trap rather than some AP just getting Rabadons and then going really tanky.
I like the tankiness. I think
And
it's great.
I'm curious to see if Quaker goes for that tankiness this game or not.
Yeah, because you can kind of opt into it. You do get a health with a lot of the items that you build. It like if you do decide to do the Roa, which we didn't really see this game, which is fine. Roa, I don't think it's in a great place right
Here
now.
comes Evil Lobster with the Rift Arrow down the mid lane. I won't be able to get the kill on the turret though, but it will get it fairly low. And with dragons spawning soon, Miami has a pretty sizable gold lead going into this.
This team fight looks good for them. I
Right,
mean,
it really
yeah,
does.
the needlework up for the Gwen. I think yeah, needlework is going to be up for this fight. No TP from Paulie Springer, but I think he's just going to move down.
Right, Meshi doesn't
Yeah.
have TP either, so Meshi's just going to be probably taking this top lane turret as a trade for this Drake.
I don't like. I think Miami, really forcing this Drake is good.
Hmm.
Getting them onto closer and closer to Soul Point. I like the roam from Paul D. Springer. He does give up a little bit of pressure in his lane, but ensuring that they get this fight is or, lack of fight. Excuse me, but I still think it's good.
Right, I agree with this play from Miami. They know how far ahead they are. Kylon is looking here, but I mean, as per
Ooh.
usual, Kylon's gonna get stunned up by the cage again. But as you see, every single time this Aurelia goes in, Quaker just places the cage in a very expert way
Yeah,
and just sort of walks away
great
casually.
disengage. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing I would like to highlight about Miami's comp. With the chain of oh,
Oh, Kylon is going again, going to get stunned. Actually, under turret this time. Primordial Burst is available, won't be used. And look at the healing from Aurelia. She might be able to actually execute this. A Primordial Burst comes out, but it isn't actually enough to kill.
no
And that's
mana.
shutdown gold going to Kylon.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, even with the Archangel staff and everything completed, he was side laning for just a tad too long and was running low on his mana reserve. So walking up a bit greedy from Quagert, Aurelia can just when in doubt auto with those 5 stacks. So it is a little bit unfortunate.
Paulie Springer is applying so much pressure in this lane. Here comes the needlework from Evil Lobster, but look at the healing from Meshi. Forced to flash away. Paulie
Ooh,
Springer's under turret. Noxian Guillotine is used, and they will trade kills under turret. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow goes wide there, but was used.
yeah, Paul D. Springer down both Psalms, and the Aatrox does have TP up, so while he does fall there, he doesn't really lose a ton. I don't know if I like that particularly. Does seem like a bit of an overextension, but we do see the Grievous being picked up from Paul D. Springer. Doesn't have the best application in the game. I would have liked to see it on maybe the sorry, the Vigar. But if he wants to just opt into full AP, there's nothing wrong with that. But my only hesitation is that Paul D. Springer won't be at every fight. He doesn't have the TP, so him being the one that picks up the Grievous isn't ideal, but it's not terrible either, as
Right.
long as
And
someone has it.
Miami's been playing a little bit greedy in the past minute or so. They've been falling in the side lanes. Yes, Paulie Springer was able to get the trade topside, but I don't know how worth it was. They were able to complete the turret there, though.
Yeah, I'm fine with that if I was Aatrox. Your laner kind of just dropping both sums to take you down. Um,
But
it,
again, Miami has this ability to really take the game slow. Gwen has now hit her Riftmaker spike, which is going to be huge in these team fights.
yeah,
And we're looking to see Rabadon's completed soon, hopefully, for Quagert on this Vagar. And once that comes to fruition, I mean, you're looking at a very strong Miami team. Western Michigan has been trying to pull back this gold lead a little bit. It's now just around 2K. So
Miami's plays have mattered.
they have mattered. What's really important is Miami's mid game is going to be really important in this game. They need to continue getting these drakes. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they try to accomplish for this next dragon because it will put them at soul point. And with
Mhm.
something like Mountain Soul and a Vagar and a Gwen, I mean,
Yeah,
it's going to be really hard for Western Michigan.
it would be, and I think Gwen, any kind of tankiness in fights just means that she gets more damage down, and applying her passive, the 1,000 cuts, it's going to be really hard. And the more items she gets, just the more unkillable she's going to become. Just healing so much in these team fights.
Right.
Um,
And that's not to undersell Western Michigan, who also has a very, very scary team comp if
Aurelia,
it works.
yeah,
Aurelia Aatrox Ivern is so scary, and having this bot lane that's playing more of a supportish, like the Ash Arrow sets up,
the
the
CC
depth
lane,
charge,
yeah,
like it's good CC layering to allow your Aurelia and Aatrox to just dance around in team fights.
yeah.
So it's something definitely to worry about, and it's going to be up to Miami to play these fights smart and well, even when they are ahead.
Miami has the tools though. Like I'm seeing, what I'm thinking, what comes to mind, Vigar Cage, good placement in team fights is going to make a huge difference. But also, again, the hostile takeover. Imagine a fully stacked Aurelia hostile takeover into her own team. It
Right.
just sounds dangerous. So I think I really like the Renata Glass pick here because Aurelia is just going to shred if she gets frenzied. So
Some dancing happening in the mid lane. Kylon does TP down toward that bot side, and Western Michigan has full vision into Dragon area. So even with the gold lead, Miami needs to figure out a way in here. They have Western Michigan has the scuttle.
no one really to frontline until Paul D. Springer gets here.
Right, Meshi does TP into the mid lane, so it is going to be a crazy 5v5 I'm expecting to happen.
I hope
Quagert's
so.
TPing mid as well. All TPs have been used, and Miami now has first step in because Western Michigan realized that they don't really have the gold lead. Daisy is going to try and forge a pass. Kylon is around the edge. Enchanted Crystal Hour lands onto NTSP, who's been stunned up a lot. Depth Charge lands as well. Evil Lobster is in the fray. A great hostile takeover. Really is taking over this fight, though. Kylon is still alive and something to watch. Evil Lobster will be bailed out, but will he be able to actually revive? He won't, but it won't matter. Noxian Guillotine secures the last kill, and it's an ace for Miami.
4-1. A beautiful fight for Miami. Really well played. And I mean, we were just talking about it. Look at
Right.
that hostile takeover onto the basically almost the entire team. And Aurelia just betrays her own teammates, slices them up. Beautiful play from Miami.
Right. And it looked really good. I liked Western Michigan's idea. They knew, like, okay, with Cage and Hostile Takeover, we really have to find that angle. We can't just run straight in. So Kylon comes around the edge, Aatrox comes around through mid lane, and then the Enchanted Crystal Arrow hits from behind. But what ends up happening is everybody still bunches together in River, and then it's well timing, good place patience by Valencia with that hostile takeover to, again, completely take over the enemy team.
Did Evil Lobster use ult for that fight? I can't recall because I'm looking at it and it
And
says it's
it
up
is
right now.
available.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that too. Yeah, Evil Lobster, I mean, it's funny to think that he was alive for most of that fight when he was the one who was in the most trouble and
Yeah.
was really cornered. NTSP got depth charged, and I believe it was Quagert who got Ash
No,
arrowed.
it was NTSP, but
It was NTSP,
an
okay.
immediate cleanse, and I think the cleanse
Right.
value in this game is so good. Think about all the CC that's in this game, and how much you can use that cleanse in these team fights.
Yeah, I believe the cleanse was from Mikhail, so
Oh yeah,
really
right.
smart. Again,
Yeah.
we were talking about the importance of the build paths this game for Miami. Very smart by Valencia to get that Mikhail's
Yeah,
early.
probably the best first item you can go here. Yeah, sorry, I confused the ghost for cleanse. They have a similar color palette.
Blue
So,
equals blue
yeah,
sometimes.
but yeah, I mean, really well played from Valencia. I mean, that team fight's all on her. Um, I just a great hostile takeover, and they're gonna be posturing kind of here to get some more vision.
Yeah, I mean, Western Michigan needs to find a way back into this game. They are now down 5K gold. Miami is at Soul Point, and they're facing again a Vagar Gwen, Gwen is at the peak of her game right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's gonna keep getting stronger.
this is a really strong Gwen, and Vagar is also going to be really strong. NTSP though in that team fight didn't actually even fall, but hold on, Paulie Springer's taking a trade into top lane, and with the Enchanted Crystal Hour hitting him, it might be a little bit more difficult, but Steric's Gauge Shield provides a lot, forces the flash away from Meshi, but the flash Noxian Guillotine seals the deal, and it's a great 1v1 with assistance from the Ash, which didn't actually
Too
assist,
much.
and
Yeah.
then not a lot happened. Thanks to Paul D. Springer. He'll
Yeah.
take that kill happily.
Still remaining really relevant in this side lane. With I think the Grievous wounds helped him a lot
Yeah.
out. Helped him a lot in that situation. Just making sure that the Aatrox just didn't heal his entire HP bar
Right,
back.
and Miami's actually looking to Baron here. Paul D. Springer is still pushing bot side. Kalalex tries to steal. He's forced to flash away, though, as he won't be able to get it. Daisy's in the pit, tried to help as well, but Miami is able to secure Baron.
Little dicey there. He was coming close, but Evil Lobster not gonna be afraid and is gonna land the smite. So
Right, and
yeah.
again, Miami now pushing that lead even further. I love to see this from Miami. The early game was a little back and forth. Miami had a pretty consistent gold lead though, albeit maybe a little minor. And now they're really pushing it ahead. After that 5v5 team fight goes so well, they say Paul D. Springer go into side lane. He is able to pick up a solo kill, and he's like, I'm just gonna keep pushing, do Baron.
Yeah, and look at the main gold leads here. I mean, we saw it's mostly falling on the Darius and it seems like falling on the Gwen. So those I mean that it's not bad, like obviously Gwen is the main priority where you want a lot of this gold focused, but Darius is putting like we saw a lot of pressure in the side lane, being able to solo kill the Aatrox and remaining really relevant in these fights.
Right. Evil Lobster just able to run at these folk. And it's funny you mentioned that about the Aatrox because we were talking early game about this, about how typically when Meshi gets ahead is when they find success with Master Michigan. When he's behind is when they tend to struggle.
Yeah, and it seems like we're seeing a prime example of that in this game. Paul D. Springer, it's going to be the 4-1. He's back onto the Aatrox.
Right, he's looking for this again, but Western Michigan has a little bit more help this time. Enchanto Crystal Arrow lands. Daisy's right around the corner as well. It's not much damage from anybody except Aatrox, but he will still likely fall here. The Noxian Guillotine isn't able to finish off Akalex. Shutdown Gold will go to the Ivern, though, not the
Not
Aatrox.
what you want. And look at the Ivern's build. It's like he can't really make up his mind in terms of whether he wants to go supportive or whether he wants to go a bit more
Oh,
on the damage side.
Blade Dance is almost going to be able to connect onto Quarier there, but he's able to get away safely.
Not that I don't like the AP Ivern. I love it. And to be honest, I haven't played much Ivern recently. He might just build that, and that could just be the optimal build. I have no
So
idea.
now Miami's looking towards this dragon. This is Soul for them. So Western Michigan has to respond.
Nautilus.
Nautilus is in a really bad spot. Cage comes out. If they can get the kill here, the pull away from the arrow will delay the kill a little bit. Hostile takeover used there as well, which might come back to bite
It could
Valencia.
be, but I think they're up so much gold. It's still going
Right,
to be
Evil
really
Lobster's
hard.
in the pit already by himself, but look how much he's healing already. They kind of can't do anything. Enchanted Crystal Hour goes out. McHale's is going to be able to save
Ooh.
him already, though. And now Western Michigan is sort of confused on what they can actually accomplish here.
Kind of forced off the dragon. Just
Right, great cage lands onto Meshi, and Quager's able to pick up the kill. Dragon is still going down. It's a double kill for him, but it's actually stolen though by the Ivern, who will delay this a bit. But I don't think he's going to delay the end of the game. There are
yeah.
minions in Western Michigan's base. Quager is already hitting the turret. I believe he has a magic elixir he might have
No,
bought,
he's fine. Yeah.
but he's just blasting that turret. I don't think Nautilus is going to be able to do anything, nor this Ash. It is a fantastic game one performance from Miami, able to push that lead in this best of three.
Beautiful. I was, I mean, I'm starstruck. I was a little hesitant. We don't see a lot of play from Gwen Jungle, but Evil Lobster, despite not picking up a lot of those kills in the early game, kept his CS high, kept his lane impact high, was ganking top lane, and was really able to just make himself so relevant in those team fights with the needlework. It's beautiful. And Valencia, like, NTSP, everyone played their part. It was amazing to see just all this, like, it was a well-oiled machine. Miami
Right.
really bouncing back from last week's.
Right, I totally agree with you. I think last week they had the same sort of team comp where they wanted to be playing as a five-man where everybody was really showing up. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, last week they weren't able to click.
yeah,
This game, they clicked,
yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
Everyone in team fights were using their abilities effectively. Even in side lanes, I thought Paul D. Springer did get caught out a few times, but I kind of liked how aggressive he was playing in that
Yeah,
matchup against Aatrox, really being like, yeah, Meshi, you're the carry of this team. I'm not afraid. I'm
yeah.
not afraid of you.
And when he was playing in those sidelines a bit later, they granted they were already ahead, but and those are a bit of the remnants of playing a little bit carelessly because if he does get caught, it could be a little bit hard for his team. But think about how much time he bought by he was 1v4, 1v3, and when he was taking on later in that game when they were the 4-4-1 splitting and they were trying to get that mid in him, he bought so much time for
Hmm.
his team in order to take that, and that's eventually what led them to be able to end that game is that mid inhib and letting the minions spill into the
Right.
base. So really well played from Paul D. Springer.
I even think part of this was a draft diff as well.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we weren't able to see stuff like bans or pick order, but the Ivern juggle really struggled up against that Gwen
Yeah.
because it was Evil Lobster clearly knew that he was favored in that matchup and
Mhm.
was applying pressure from the get-go onto him. And even though Ivern was trying to help lanes to the best of his ability, when you have an Irelia and Aatrox, you really want to get them ahead,
Yeah.
especially when you're up against a really heavy scaling team like Miami.
Yeah. Well, we will get right back into game two. Don't go anywhere.
Yes, we're going to be right back. This is a best of three series, so we do have at least one other match. I don't want to jinx anything, so I won't mention how there's never been a three-game series, but then I just did. Stick
Oops.
with us. We'll see what happens in this game too, and see if Miami can close this one out. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to ESC Collegiate League of Legends with Miami University up against Western Michigan. Miami University was able to take that first game cleanly, and we actually have seen that Spectator Client might be working in our favor
Look at
today.
this.
There are some bugs potentially still there, so
Yeah,
there
we
was a
can't see
naming issue,
Miami's
but
names.
actually, it looks pretty good.
We
So,
know we know we're on red side.
yeah, so Miami is on red side, Western Michigan on blue side, and we're gonna actually be able to see bans for the first time in like a week and a half.
Karma ban, no surprise. Champion did just recently get nerfed a little bit with the Malignance build, but
Quaker loves it,
yeah,
so
it's I mean
I see
Quagert
it.
and Valencia love it. It's a two-man or man and woman ban in this instance, a really good one in my
Right, and
opinion.
I was expecting that Casante was probably also banned last game, banned this game as well by Miami. Meshi, most played champion is that Casante, and then the second most played is that Aatrox.
Yep.
I'm curious to see if they don't ban it, and if Western Michigan sort of begs Miami to answer with the Darius again, if they're gonna lock it in early or not.
I don't know. I think it was a little bit. I mean, Mechie did fine in the laning phase.
So
Gwen
the
ban.
Gwen is banned. We saw how effective that was up against that Ivern jungle. And this time, Miami banning away on red side, this time that Varus.
Guess what? I'm calling an Ezreal for NTSP here.
Really?
I think it's 100%. If that Varus is not there, I think it's going to be an Ezreal this game. I mean, even with the karma taken away, I this guy loves this champion. He was telling me the other day how much he wanted to show off. Oh,
Oh
guess
no,
not.
you might have cast the curse strikes again. Western Michigan picks up the Ezreal this time for themselves. I think Western Michigan might have had the same read as you,
Yep,
and was maybe just happy to take it for themselves. So now Miami NTSP might be a little bit upset, might be crying right now,
I
but
wouldn't
they
blame him.
have to respond with something here.
Uh,
Interested to see if they just respond with their own ADC bot lane or if they pick up that Xin Zhao, which has been a super high priority pick.
indeed,
It is typically really better with an enchantress of some kind, some sort of shielding to back him
I'm
up.
sure we'll see that.
And I agree with you. I'm sure we'll see it either in the support role or Quaker every so often will play those flex picks.
Oh,
Or
okay.
the one role I didn't mention, Miami wants the Ivern potentially for themselves
Guess where that's
here.
going? Mid.
It could go mid. I
It's going
have
mid.
seen Quagert play the Ivern.
He just did it yesterday.
Right. So
Yeah.
I love to see this. Miami stealing away Western Michigan's pick, especially because Western Michigan picked the great counter of Gwen Jungle. So
Yeah.
now it's up to Western Michigan to say, all right, we played Ivern last game. Do we actually know another counter into it that is really going to stop us from succeeding? And
Jaximus,
right,
Jaquelium.
it could be Jack's top, could be Jack's jungle. It's probably going to be jungle
I'm
if I
thinking.
had to
I don't know.
guess.
I think top here, just because it's a pretty safe blind. There's not too many super hard counters into it. But I don't know. I don't know. Is that really in Mechie's champ pool? That's the question.
Right. Vagar is going to be the look into mid lane. It's a good response from Western Michigan, especially because they saw how effective it was last game. And Ivern is pretty good into most control mages.
I mean,
But against Vagar, he kind of struggles because Vagar can just stack
stack. Yeah. I
freely.
mean, there's no pressure from the Ivern. That's what it has me a little worried if this game does go late. I think, especially with the Jax in the side lane, it is a little bit dangerous.
Miami toying with the Aatrox, but it looks like they're going to lock in the Ashe instead. Don't want more bans targeted towards NTSP. So an interesting look right now from Miami, while Western Michigan has sort of that late game extreme power spikes with all three champions that they've locked in so far.
Trying to think what support I think pairs well with Ezreal that's still on the table. Um,
So for
yeah,
Miami side, though, I was going to say banning the Nautilus might be a good idea.
yeah,
It's really effective against Xin Zhao with the ability to sort of just lock him down, get him away. It's also effective against Ashe, lock her down as well.
like the
Um,
Milio ban.
I'm curious about Vi or if they're just going to totally target away the support, which is what they're doing right now. Western Michigan wants to also totally target the
Look how
support
many
role.
support bans we've had in this
Right. I
game.
mean, it's really narrowing this pool. The Renata is still up. We saw Valencia on it last game.
Wouldn't mind it with the Ash. I think it's fine. Um,
Western Michigan, one more
yeah,
band to pick from, and it will be the Lulu. So sort of kind of feels like they're forcing her into The Renata pick could also be some sort of engaged support like a Leona, which we haven't really seen in a while.
Annie.
Or it could be something more aggressive like this Annie, which is also something we have not seen in a very long
I
time.
like the Anivia. Uh, or the Aatrox.
And it's going to be the Aatrox. We saw it highlighted before the second phase of bans. So taking that away from Meshi and also putting it on Paul D. Springer, who loves this pick as well.
And thinking about the Ivern, it's clearly thrown Western Michigan for a loop because we don't. It's still a flex pick. As much as I think I was kind of convinced it was going mid, I still think there's a good chance, with the hover to Nivea, that it might be headed bot lane, and it's not bad in any sense of the word. So
Mm,
Rumble picked up. Think it's gonna be Rumble jungle. Could be Rumble top lane. Another flex pick. Kind of a
right.
game full of flex picks.
Right. Western
Um,
Michigan's very heavy on AP right now.
yeah, they
Um,
definitely need some. That's not. I mean,
Rel into the support role is something that we always treat as a flex, even though we typically just see her go into the jungle. But it will be into the support role now. And Western Michigan can sort of flex the Jackson Rumble around. Rumble is really good into Aatrox. So I
yes.
would expect that top lane, but I think it's totally fine if Meshi wants to pilot the Jackson instead.
Yeah, I think the Jax jungle is a pretty good look here.
And we will see the Renata Glass to be picked up as expected for Miami. So, what do we think of these drafts? We have an Ivern mid from Quagert. This is obviously not the first time he's done it, but I'm really excited to see it again.
I mean, okay, I do like the Ivern mid, and in isolation, it sounds really good with the champs, and they have a lot of utility. But I'm worried because the Rel offers a lot of value specifically into the Ivern just with the shield break on the Q. But I still think I prefer Miami's draft just in the sense that there seems to be a bit more comfort on the side of Miami. The Ash, the Xin Zhao, the Aatrox, and the Renata all seem to be champions that they're very familiar with. And when it comes down to anything in pro play, comfort is the most important thing. So I like it.
Right. And even though we said last game that Miami could really take their time, they actually didn't really need to. Yes, it was a 30-minute game, but they had a lead for almost all of that game and they just kept pushing it and pushing it. So if they think that they can do that again with a team comp like this, I mean, that's going to be super effective. Now, the worry is, though, that now Western Michigan has that scaling
Yeah.
comp, and that could be pretty scary.
Jax Rumble late game, don't want to see it. I
Right.
mean, I'm not a super big Vigar too. Can't forget the Vigar. So we don't want to repeat of what happened last game, but back into Miami using their own medicine against them.
Right. So we're going to have to see what will happen in this game number two. We're going to take a short break as we wait for spectator delay to kick in, but stick with us for this match number two between Western Michigan and Miami. We will be right back. Be right back.
Hope so, or not. We're oh, there we go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are on the Rift for game number 2 between Western Michigan and Miami. Miami able to take that first game in the best of 3 series. This time, we're sort of swapping team comps. Western Michigan has the scaling, and Miami is sort of the snowball get ahead, but with the Ivern to sort of back them up late game.
Yeah.
Once again, Western Michigan moving as a 5-man into the opponent's jungle, trying to get an early ward, and they will on to red.
And Evil Lobster sees 5 people running towards him, and he's like, "Nope, I'm good."
Right.
Backs up. Probably gonna know that they placed a ward in his red buff. Not too big of a deal. So he can just kind of path accordingly, and it should be fine.
Right, and Miami was also able to get a deep ward, however, so they are going to know where the enemy jungler is well, and Jax will be starting there, but looks like NTSB and Valencia want this 1v1 early. They are going to dodge from the crash down from the rel, and they'll just walk away with a little bit of damage onto Western Michigan's bot side. I do want to note that Meshi has Ignite on this Rumble. I did mention Rumble loves this matchup because your Flame Spitter just continues firing while Aatrox smacks you even when you're knocked up by Aatrox.
And I love the Ignite personally. I mean, there's a lot of teleport Rumble lovers, but I think the Ignite gives you so much pressure in lane, especially if you're trying to go for the lane domination solo killing. So I'm a big fan. I think it's great, especially in Aatrox with the healing. Can never be bad.
Look how aggressive Miami's bot lane is playing right now. They seem to know this matchup pretty well. And you can already see Potty Springers being zoned away pretty hard.
Is
By this
landing
Rumble.
the proc's not too bad on his Q. And like we were saying during that break, I think we're thinking it's going to be towards top side that if Miami is going to win this game, or I feel like I don't see a lot of advantages coming from Miami's bot side, just particularly because Ezreal is such a safe laner. So yeah, I think that it's going to be up to Paul D. Springer, even with this counter matchup, or Evil Lobster to carry this game.
Right. Junglers pathing towards opposite directions here. Evil Ops are pathing towards bot side, while Colix will be pathing towards that top side of the map. Although it looks like Evil Ops is trying to look for this level 3 into the mid lane. I don't know if he's going to be able to get anything out of this. We'll have to see. Caller is very effective for ganks. If you see top lane, the burns are already starting to kick in onto Paul D. Springer as Meshi's trying to push in this wave through a slow push.
And he is definitely vulnerable.
Yeah, you can see so much damage with the burns. Has the Ignite available, won't actually even use it.
I'm surprised. I feel like he could Ignite auto there. Might just be the end of Paul D. Springer, but, decides to play it a little bit more safe. And that's fine.
Right, and Akalix is pathing topside, so can afford to play safe, because if they want to force a dive here, Evil Lobster is not there to respond.
Yeah. And while he does have the TP, Paul D. Springer, I think it is kind of a scary situation, missing out on a lot of CS here. But that's to be expected. It is a clear and cut counter matchup.
All right, meanwhile, bot side, Miami has the push again in this lane, which is also to be expected, really. Astronauta, you don't really want to mess with, especially in these early game trades. The volleys and the ease from Renata just do so much damage.
Yeah, the poke is super effective. Gonna land a W there. Not too terrible. Early back here from Paul D. Springer. Probably, I would imagine to use the TP, try and get back in the lane. Does cancel it, so I guess he is sticking around.
Right, Kadak is looking for something here. NTSB is going to be caught. It's a really good stun, but they can sort of kite this away, and these Astros are dealing so much. It's going to prevent any escapes, but the crashdown comes out. Bailout is on NTSP, but I don't think they're going to have the damage, and it will be first blood over to this Rel. Valencia now is in trouble, trying to path towards Evil Lobster. Will land the stun with the handshake. I don't know if Evil Lobster can land anything. The wind becomes lightning, misses. He's going to flash on to Prince, but he might have bitten off more than he can chew. Going to get stunned up by the counter strike, knocked up as well, and he will fall. 2 kills going over to Western Michigan's bot lane.
Really well played by the Rel there, knowing the timing on to when to engage. The exhaust getting a lot of value onto NTSP, not really able to trade back a lot of damage, and then he's just taken out. And I think two double stuns by the Rel too, so really well played there in the trade back into Miami. And I mean, Evil Lobster, I respect the attempt going for the flash, but not able to capitalize.
Right. I'm wondering if he had instead flashed earlier, was more taking initiative with that fight. He might have
Yeah.
been able to get the kill onto Prince before the Akaliks could come down with the counter strike and
Yeah.
really seal that kill up.
Kind of seemed like a panic response, just trying to do everything he could to get that kill. But is going to transition to the Void Grubs here. A strategy we're seeing a lot is just get one Void Grub and run, because honestly, as long as you're denying the full 6 stack, it's not too terrible. But Void Grubs honestly don't give a lot of value unless you have a really split push heavy comp.
Fragger's looking for a trade here. Dark Matter can just be sidestepped pretty easy. Look at damage from Quagert, and the shields are providing so much. Trading pretty effectively here. We'll give a few stacks to pile on with the Q lands, but nonetheless will be pretty good. All 3 grubs go over to Miami. Lobster, who's going to be moving into this mid lane, but Akalix is right around the corner at his Raptor, so won't be looking for anything there. Valencia was called up as well just in case anything could happen. NTSP, meanwhile, is so low. Crashdown lands under turret, and they're able to just secure him up. This Ashe is very immobile. Meshi top side.
I would have liked to see another Flash Ignite there, maybe to see if he could get anything, but playing it safe, never really that bad. Still has the advantage.
Anything. Polyspring is gonna pop the ultimate. Ignite comes out, but here comes the ult response from Meshi, and so much tick damage will kill him as well. To 3k gold lead already for Western Michigan. When comes Lightning lands, Evil Lobster's going to try to get the kill here. It might be pretty difficult though. The overheat with the Flame Spitter deals so much damage, but Evil Lobster kites it away effectively and picks up Miami's first kill.
Well played. I mean, it was I tensed up a little bit there because he almost traded that back, and with the overheat, you do so much damage with your Q. But it just wasn't enough. Evil Lobster able to pick up the kill.
Right, Dragon will go over to Western Michigan though as a result of that, and right now for Miami, it's not looking good. 7 minutes already down just under 2k. I mean, this is where Miami was last game, except on the other side of the spectrum. They were the ones ahead by just under 2k this early, and they were able to snowball that lead. So Miami gonna have to play smart these next few minutes to really try and claw their way back into this game.
It's gonna be tough. I mean, and we talked about it. Western Michigan does have that element of scaling that Miami had with the advantage regardless. So, little worried here. That game 3 prediction you made a little bit earlier may come back to bite us.
Right. Kylon's still stacking in this mid lane while the Ivern does Ivern things, just shields and smacks the turret on his rushes.
Both junglers in the bot side here.
Right, we might start to see something. It looks like Evil Lobster wants to try and set up a dive or something, but I think he might know that Akalix is bot side as well.
Yeah, a little bit of a tough spot. Not a ton of vision control. Evil Lobster on the red, but I think the bot side can just roam up.
Right, did not use that smite. I don't think he had it available. Win this 1v1, he will not. Akalix, Grandmaster at Arms, will seal the deal.
Yeah, can't really match Jax too well in the 1v1 when he has his ult up. Just gets a lot of resistances and just hits you. So, unfortunate there for Evil Lobster. You don't really want to give a lot of...
Oh, but they're looking here. Pyrex with the flash ultimate. The crashdown is not going to land on NTSP, who's been kiting this out pretty well so far. Ignite goes onto Pylek, who's been taken pretty low. NTSP below half health as well. Pylek is forced to run away. Prince is taking so much damage from the Ashe and the volley. Valencia is taken fairly low as well, but I think NTSP is going to be able to seal the deal here, might even be able to pick up the double kill, and he will, and it's also shutdown gold on that rel going into Ashe's pocket.
Beautifully played, just kiting out every single ability, dodging the aerial skill shots and trading back like a pro. That dude was just possessed by Ruler. Like, really well spaced. The autos were great. Using the E, the hawk shot to get vision in the bush to get the extra autos down. Very, very well played.
I totally agree. NTSP and Valencia cutting that out beautifully. With this matchup, you want to take your time in these fights, and they stalled that fight out perfectly. Rel used everything she had, and then you kind of saw she was just sort of lingering there. After you use everything on Rel, if you don't get those kills quick enough, you kind of just become a meat block that moves really slowly.
Yeah.
And so, especially with an Ezreal on your side, If you don't get all the damage out and it doesn't kill, then nothing's gonna happen. And NTSP was fairly healthy for a large majority of that fight.
Yeah, and Western Michigan Struggler is
Oh,
going to
Paldi
deny the
Springer is
kills.
taking equalizer come out. It will not. Very patient by Meshi here.
Yeah.
Really saving all his stuff, but it's 3 men top lane. Probably going to see an equalizer used here to try and see if he can pick up Paldi Springer. He's going to have to be careful. Evil Lobster is standing directly on the equalizer, which is played so well, but a great bailout will save him. The is used. Valencia is trying to kite back as best as he can, but Evil Lobster is on the ward and will be taken down. Meanwhile, into the bot side of the map, MTSP is able to pick up the solo kill. So, NTSP in the bot lane, able to put himself ahead even further. Meanwhile, top side, it's a trade 1-for-1.
Yeah, and
Caller lands mid lane. That's actually a lot of damage onto this rail. Can Daisy tank up turret enough? The flash auto from Quagert seals the deal. Akalix is right around the corner, though. Counter-strike will land. Daisy has fallen. The trigger seed slow is a good amount. I don't know if he's able to get out of this enough. Will the root caller land? It will. Evil Lobster is here now. Quager's going to try to stay alive. He can't. They will effectively trade 1-for-1, but they are getting clamped now. Cage does not land in a perfect spot. Dark Matter does, though. Primordial Burst is not able to be used, though, before Evil Lobster will flash. And now, finally, it seems like things have settled down around Summoner's Rift.
And with that play, Miami clawed back. I mean, NTSP going ham in the bot lane, plus the great cross maps up, you know, roaming up from support. Really well played, and Miami is able to stabilize the.
Right, Miami can stall these fights really well. Yes, Quager did fall there, but because he was able to stall for so long with the trigger seed and the collar roots, Evil Lobster was able to come in and get the kill, which then now leads to 6 grubs going over to Miami this game.
It's not entirely 6. I think it's 5.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
because
were
they were able to deny 1, which is very fortunate.
But still, 5 grubs is great. You do get the mites bonus.
Yeah.
With 5.
It's still
Quaker
fantastic.
Is going to be caged up, so Evil Lobster. They're not able to pounce on to the root caller. Miami is looking to set up around the dragon here. Paldi Springer has TP in a couple minutes, but he's going to be eternally pushed into lane. But they are looking here. Hostile takeover comes out into the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Look how tanky, though, she is. Equalizer. Sorry, that was the Daisy knockup that looked like an equalizer.
Yeah, with that skin.
That was funny. There's the equalizer from this, but it won't mean anything into the top side, though. A really great Enchanted Crystal into the hostile takeover will set up Dragon for Miami, and I love to see that.
Yeah, I'm loving Miami's bot side plays. I think it's so great to see them working in unison. The hostile takeover coming right after that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Great sync, and it's gonna, you know, pay off for them. Really well played.
Another Mountain Soul.
Yeah.
Another Mountain Soul.
You know, and I think whoever gets that soul is going to be in a really great spot because we are going to see a lot of value from it. I think Mountain Soul is unique in the sense that, I mean, that and Hextech. I think a lot of the souls are all, they did just get nerfed recently, but they're all just so much stronger than basically everything. That's why I say the early dragon stacking, forgive me, is so impactful.
I was just gonna mention Rel is right around the corner. It's a flash to secure that kill. Quagert will fall. The cage is able to get everything. Was not expecting the Rel around him.
And despite that flash, Quagert has been playing this Ivern mid so effectively in terms of, I mean, we saw him pick up a solo kill earlier, and, you know, using the shielding on his teammates and really making sure that they can last so long in these team fights is so great. And you don't, Ivern mid, again, not a super popular pick, but we have seen him pick it up just recently, and I think it's great.
And Rift Herald spawning. Looks like Western Michigan will be able to pick that up with the solo kill on mid lane. NTSP able to really just solo push this wave. Not scared at all with Prince. Paldi Springer's looking here, but I think Rift Herald's too low and he's not going to be able to really do anything. This Rumble matchup has been unfortunate, though he is able to get that Profane Hydra. Fantastic item on this Aatrox.
Yeah, I mean, it's just loads of damage and an auto reset. Everything Aatrox wants. So,
Alex is still top lane.
I will
see something, but he is going to back.
I would have liked to see Miami contest that. While the Ignite, I mean, I think Miami's top side is
for something. Evil Lobster is here with double buffs. He mentioned he does have the equalizer available, and he will use it here. Darkened Blade is hitting, though, and Paulie Springer is able to pick up the kill. It looked simple. It looked
Hold
beautiful.
on.
Quaker is flying in with the caller with his companion Daisy.
Look at this guy go.
Right, just smacking Kylon in the face, applying great pressure, taking him to half health with the help of Daisy. And I mean, that's actually pretty good. Now he's going to be able to really safely push this wave and try to force a back from Kylon.
You know when we said during drafts, oh yeah, Vigard can just stack on kind of uncontested. What happened?
Right.
What happened?
Pollox is dealing a lot of damage here. The chains won't fully grapple him back. It will just be a little soft trade. Pi is in the bush here with this Rel. I mean, I think we're going to see a Rel in the bush for most of this game. Quaker's playing fairly aggressive, trying to line up with Evil Lobster while he can steal camps. Forcing the flash out from Kylon is Evil Lobster, though.
Yeah. Evil Lobster, despite kind of getting put under a bit of a difficult spot in the early game, Argenta Crystallera is going to go out.
Didn't land anything. Meanwhile, bot lane, they're looking for something. It might be able to fully collapse onto NTSP here, although looks like he can run away scot-free. Was using that flash there to get away.
Yeah. It is going to be a bit rough for the Ashe to not have that flash later if there is ending up to be a team fight, but I think
because of this trade that happened earlier from Quaker, Kylon is forced to play under his turret, which means that now Evil Lobster can move to bot side pretty freely. That's a huge ult, but a great response ult with this hostile takeover. Will they have enough damage, though, to complete Kylak? They will. A
solo kill top.
Solo kill from this Aatrox. Hold on, and now mid lane, Akalix is looking onto Quaker with the Grandmaster and arms resistances. A great flash away from the Root Caller means that he will able to secure the kill. But solo lane-wise, I mean, top and bot side of the map, Miami is able to pick up the kills. The Rift Herald is going to be used here on this mid lane. Will he hit a turret? No, yes, he will.
Yeah, he will. They changed it, actually.
Yes,
so there was a bug where
Lobster's taking kind of low here, not respecting the counter strike, and will have to flash away. But as you were mentioning, yes, the Rift Herald changes.
Yeah, so there was a bug initially where when you got in the Rift Herald, it would just kind of go the opposite direction of where you want it to. So if you were trying to hit a tower, it just goes into a wall, and it's a waste. But, they made it now a bit more user-friendly, so you have a lot more maneuverability when you initially enter it. So if it does kind of happen, you are able to kind of turn it the way that you want it a lot more quickly than you used to be able to.
And we saw that.
Yes.
I was afraid that it was going to hit. No, when Rift Herald hits wall, it's basically like it hits a turret.
Yeah, it takes damage.
Yeah, it takes a lot of damage. Doesn't get the mites, though, and it's just a really sad time over.
So yeah, taking that Vigard W like it was nothing. I'm curious, how many stacks does Vigard have? It doesn't seem like he's doing that much damage.
Looks like around 170.
Yeah, so a little bit less than Vigard have at this point in the game. Still going to be a little bit lethal in the late game, obviously. He is going for a bit of a more scaling build with that Rod of Ages that we did not see Quaker pick up. But it's not bad.
Right, Miami able to pick up the first Mountain Drake, which we love to see, with Quaker rotating bot side as well as Paul D. Springer. It was pretty much secured for them. In response, though, Western Michigan able to pick up that top lane turret.
And just looking at the game right now, oh, Mike.
Yeah, the Root Caller lands, though, preventing that rel doing anything. Quaker kind of like totally unafraid here. Decent amount of health. Daisy's here, and so is Evil Lobster. When Become Lightning will land. The crouch down isn't really going to get this rel far. Going to try to use the ult to try and save something. He's very tanky. Will flash away. Actually had a great time. Trigger Seed trying to give the extra bonus. When Becomes Lightning will secure the kill. Quaker's taken pretty low, though, by this Ezreal. But Daisy's blocking it. No, and it's a double kill for Evil Lobster.
Daisy said, "Get down, Mr. President. I'll take this Ezreal Q." And beautiful, beautiful play in the 2v2.
Yeah,
on the box side.
We mentioned it in draft. Shin's out, great champion right now. Even better when you have an Enchantress.
Yeah, like any kind of shielding, just like buffs the healing, any kind of just gives him another opportunity to sustain himself.
Paul D. Springer is in trouble. This Jax matchup, this is really hard for an Aatrox to deal with. And that's actually shutdown gold. Going over to this Jax, who's currently sitting at 5-1 and is pretty
And that's
dangerous.
what I was gonna say. You know, a lot of its lead, while Evil Lobster is able to pick up a lot of gold in this game, is kind of concentrated on this Ash. And if the Ash is just jumped on by the Jax, there's not much you can do. Jax is just able to carry games, and not to say that Jin Zhao can't, but I don't know. I would rather have a Fed Jax in every kind of scenario.
Yeah, well, is that Miami, usually when you have Jax on opponent, you'll take something like a Control Mage who doesn't need to worry about autoing heal damage to the Jax.
Yeah,
But they have the Ivern, which
yeah.
is nice for the shielding, but they don't really have a champion who can auto or deal damage to Jax while counter strike.
Yeah, it is a little bit scary to see. And Quagert, while he has been playing like a total Giga Chad this game, is gonna maybe struggle a bit in these team fights. You know, doing more as long as Daisy's able to. Oh, come on.
Valencia has been caught out and will force the flash away from her. Pollock is really doing a lot with this Jax, trying to claw Western Michigan back out of what was a little bit of a rut for them briefly, but
Quagert
is now
doing no
only
damage.
around the 2K. But here he comes topside onto Evil Lobster. Evil Lobster had 500 gold shutdown. This is pretty scary for him. Flash counter strike in. The Primordial Burst will secure the kill, and it's that shutdown gold does go on to him. Meanwhile, bot side, though, all of a sudden, Polly Springer likes this matchup, forces the flash out of the Rumble. But nothing will come more of that.
I'm just so happy that Jax did not get that shutdown. As much as I don't like it on Vigar either, Jax with any kind of more lead, I don't want to see it. Vigar is starting to come online though. Still, as we saw, kind of struggling to do a ton of damage even while hitting his full combo with the cage. Evil Lobster here on the flip push, able to zone.
Right, gets the equalizer out as well as True Shot Barrage.
He's in trouble.
Chase. Well, Pylon has flanked. There's 4 people on the bot side of the map, so now Miami wants to try and look towards mid lane, but Apollox is here, and there's only 3 of them. They do have 5 grubs, so those mites are going to be able to spawn, but NTSP needs to be pretty careful. He jumped on fairly easily. Apollox is low. Counter-Strike used, though the Enchanted Crystal Arrow won't be able to finish him off. Gets him really low, however. I think Miami should now be able to pick up this mid lane turret.
I want someone on the side of Miami to be able to claim this Jax shutdown.
Oh, but they're looking here. Here comes the Renata, though, trying to save NTSP from his ability, but it won't be enough. Shutdown does go over to this Ezreal.
The Lobster on the way.
Right, I don't know if they can look for anything here, though. Unfortunate, another shutdown going over to Western Michigan, and this game is really back and forth right now, especially with next Drake spawning soon. Now Western Michigan has the play.
Yeah, kind of in a position to fight this Drake without much worry. Kind of with those shutdowns being given to the side of Western Michigan, they're in a really good spot gold-wise to take this fight without, too much worry. And I mean, like I said, we're still kind of seeing those reminiscent things of last week where Miami one of their members might get caught in a side lane or an awkward position, be forced to flash, something like that, and then it will bite them later. So I'm hoping Miami, continues to work on this.
Right. Miami knows they can't really fight this Drake, so they are going to just try to deter, although they are going to look onto the rail. Drake goes over to Western Michigan. It's a lot, and it's a huge equalizer to try and deal as much damage as possible, but looks like Axel has jumped too far. Alex, and Shutdown Gold does go over to this Ivern, and look at Paulie Springer in the front line.
Trying to take over this fight, not able to.
Right, Evil Lobster jumps forward onto Meshu, can only do so much. Pylon might be in a bad spot as well. The trigger seed slows, and Evil Lobster is able to pick up another. Meanwhile, Cage is able to stall this out a little bit, but the chains pull him back. Shutdown goes onto this Ash. You love to see it, and even though it's Drake for Western Michigan, it's a 3 for none.
Beautiful, beautiful play from Miami. I did not think that was going to go well. But if you noticed in the fight, look at the priority target that was CC'd. It was the Jax. He was not able to move basically that entire fight and was just kind of chunked down. And, while Western Michigan does have a lot of tools in order to do damage, I feel like a lot of their team fight is going to be coming from Jax. And if he's not able to play, well, what just happened.
Right. I want to see the build. Yeah, I was going. The equalizer was huge, but didn't look like it was doing a lot because Valencia built Locket.
Yeah.
Which, again,
gives you
the
some breathing
support
room.
builds this game. I mean, that first support item is so important
Yeah.
because I mean that's what you're gonna have for the most of the game,
Yeah, we saw the
right?
McHales have so much value last game in terms of what you can do for your first item. And, again, we're seeing it be integral in these team fights.
Right. And speaking of McHale's, she does go on and pick that up for her second item. So I really like the lockup pickup though, because it was so useful that fight. That equalizer hit everybody on Miami, but it really wasn't
No.
doing a whole lot of damage, especially with Ivern Shield, Locket Shield, and then Evil Lobster and Paul D. Stringer have a lot of built-in healing in their
Yeah,
kits.
the Grievous is good. I like it being picked up. The Oblivion Orb, I think it's important.
Oh, Enchanted Crystal Arrow does hit, and that's pretty far away. It's going to stun for a while. Hostile takeover, that pie pick can't do anything, and that's going to be Baron most likely for Miami. A fantastic play by them. They knew exactly what they were aiming for.
And, they learned from the Crystal Arrows last week, and they're like, what if we try this? What if we just get these picks for it's gonna
Equalizer goes down, and I love this transition from Miami. They can move off this Baron, and they can kill the Rumble and just go right back to it.
Yeah, no chance for Western Michigan really to contest now. Not a lot of opportunities for a steal either. Jack's not in the area.
No, and no true shot barrage either. Means that Miami is able to pick up this Baron unscathed, and Western Michigan isn't even able to really respond with the turret. They were able to push mid lane, but I mean, Miami just takes Baron too quickly, and they only have 3 numbers alive.
Yeah, and we don't usually like do MVPs or highlight super MVPs, but like look at Valencia's KD right now.
Yeah.
That is the stuff of legend in terms of support. As a support main myself or support top hybrid, you don't see that often. And to see it here in this game where there is a lot of threat and like the Jax jumping on you, there's been times where, she's been put under a lot of pressure, but really able to make the most out of a lot of these situations.
Right. I think when we were talking about this, it was off cast, so I want to mention it now. We were talking about how last game we weren't sure what the bans would look like from Western Michigan
Yeah.
because it felt like all of Miami was really strong in that game and provided a lot. But we did say the Renata was something that we think would be banned. The Enchanted Crystal does barely miss high pick there. True Shot Barrage tries to solve his way, but it's not going to do a lot with 5 drops. Evil Lobster is trying to find something here, but Cage has come out. Going to be able to use the ult to block all the rest of the damage that would be going on to him, and they can keep pushing here with Baron.
Equalizer to try and thin out the wave.
Right, the Cage doesn't exactly land on all, and Paul D. Springer wants some more. Purdy using that lead means he can't get out safely, but now he can. Renata and this Ivern are able to keep him alive.
Paul D. Springer playing with fire. The Rel, I mean, he's thanking his lucky stars that she missed that Q.
I think Apollox wants to keep pushing, so Western Michigan really wants to look for something here. Will a hostile takeover connect on the edge? It will not. Apollox is now not really able to keep pushing, though he did get 1 turret. But I think that's what Western Michigan was looking for there. They were saying, let's just fight this. If we win it, we can really kind of end the game off of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that rel was already taken so low, and so many times we've seen the rel go in, and her team is sort of left the Baron behind.
Yeah. Flash going to be having.
Alex is taking really low by this Ash, and actually with the cogs taken that low, now Miami can just get themselves to soul point with this Mountain Drake.
There is still kind of a potential for steal, but Paul D. Springer is going to make sure that that is not going to happen, zoning him off the drag, and this is soul point for Miami. It is. I mean, like, we were worried this game. We were worried. I think we mentioned how Western Michigan has the element of scaling, but Miami, with these cross-map plays and just really great coordination, is able to crawl back, and it's now in the driver's seat.
I was just about to say, it really felt like Miami had a timeout or something.
Yeah.
Like, something has happened in the past 5 minutes where they weren't really that far behind, but now they're pretty ahead.
They're back to that
5K gold lead.
They're back to that well-oiled machine we saw in game 1, and I am here for it. I love to see Miami playing like this, and I will give Western Michigan credit. I think early in the laning phase, this rel looked fantastic. This rel had the engages. This rel had NTSP's number in terms of knowing when to go in, and also Evil Lobster. But really just a great macro and micro performance from Miami to be able to come back into this game swinging.
Right now, Western Michigan still has a lot of wombo combo potential, so something to be wary of if you're Miami. But again, Valencia is playing so well with these hostile takeovers to try and prevent anything like that happening. And the shields from this Ivern are really annoying to deal with. But Miami still has this game to close out. They are at Soul Point. Baron is going to be up in 2 minutes as well. So actually Baron is coming before the Soul Dragon. So
They
that's
could get
likely to be the
Exodia.
next fight. Kylon is going to be taken up by the chains, and they're trying to look towards him. Western Michigan sort of doesn't really have a way out of their base right now because of this Ivern bush and the constant wave clear.
I don't know about you. I'm getting flashback to game 1 where Paulie Springer in a side lane just pressuring members of Western Michigan while they 4-man the mid lane. Not going to be able to get the inhib this time, but honestly, taking an inhib doesn't sound like, as much as you like the pressure, there's a Vigar, and he needs stacks. And right now, he's very much struggling to get stacks.
That is a fantastic thing to mention.
Yeah.
Because of the way these wave states are, Western Michigan is like, can't really side lane except for the Jax.
And he's at 300 stacks. I mean, as much as like that sounds really, it's not. He doesn't, with the build he's going, he just doesn't have the damage in order to really blow up a lot of these members of Miami. So
he's also not going that tankier build. Which is something that I don't really think we got to the point last game where we were able to see if
I
Tiger
think
was
he
gonna
would
go
have just
tanky.
fully gone AP too. He was in. They were definitely in a position where they could just push their lead. This game, I still think that the AP route is probably just a little bit better. As much as I think the Rod of Ages transitions well into tank with the extra health and shield it gives you.
And I love how Miami's playing as a group of 4 with Quality Springer in the side lane with that TP available because they have a very support-heavy comp. They want to move as a group of 4, really don't want to get caught out right now.
Great
and they have
control.
first moved into Baron now, which is going to be up in the next 20 seconds. And I mean, this next fight, if it goes in Miami's favor, could be the game.
Yeah, I mean, as much as there's not really any inhibs or anything like that being taken, I think one misstep from Western Michigan, and it just could be the game. They have the Void Grubs. They have all the tools that they need in order to end this game.
Kylon is matching the Paul D. Stringer in the bot lane because he does have that TP available. I like this from Miami, though. They do have first move to Baron, but they don't really want to get stuck in that pit with a Rel, a Rumble, and not Cage right now, but the Counter-Strike from Akalix is going to hit a lot of people if they get grouped up heavily. So they're really taking their time here. They want to make sure they can try to catch somebody off guard here. But with them all being seen in the mid lane, they can now officially start this up. Paul Springer is able to move up without having to expend his TP as
Curious,
well.
there's no vision. Can they just burst it down before?
Just have enough damage. Paul Springer is dealing a lot to Akalix. Enchanted Crystal Arrow stalls as well. I think they'll just be able to get this easily. They will. It's Baron for Miami, and now they kind of want to try to look here, push forward. Enchanted Crystal Arrow isn't available. Flash from Paul Springer ahead. Cage will not land on him. They tried to look for something, weren't able to get anything.
And now that, I mean, look, we talked about this. They're in a great place where they got the Baron. They can do a number of things here. Paulie Springer with the TP can just go for a side lane, and then they can just position for Dragon. Because since he has that TP advantage, Kylos can match, but I think, you know, with the Baron, it's going to be really hard. He can just get blown up by this Aatrox. Even at this point in the game, with these lethality items stacking, he is certainly a threat. So Paulie Springer is not really going to decide the side lane. That's fine, too. I think going to the fight is a good call here. You just want as much pressure as possible, and, you know, with Mountain Soul, as long as Evie Lobster doesn't get caught here. Ivern.
It's crazy. I also want to know, picking up that Night's Vow is now making NTSB even, like, tankier.
Yeah,
now.
He has a machine gun
This
build.
is Soul Dragon. Look at the bushes, though. I mean, it's hard to walk into. Hostile Takeover is going to land pretty big, though, but that's a huge Rel initiation. But do they have the damage? I don't think they do. Akalix Counter-Strike has expired already. Evil Lobster is carrying through the fight. They're able to get whatever they want. Look at the shields from Miami. It's a good damage with the Dark Matter. The Cage and the Flash from Kylan's going to stall a little bit.
Plager.
The final Primordial Burst is going to lead to a shutdown, though, on Plager. Miami still hasn't even picked up that Soul Dragon.
Uh-oh.
That's a big stun onto NTSP. However, Miami might have gone a little bit further than they wish they could.
Can they get the soul,
Ecolox is
though?
still available to try and steal, but they will be able to pick up the Mountain Soul. So still Soul goes over to Miami, but they might have pushed a little bit too far there.
Yeah, bit greedy. I mean, I get it. You got a lot of endorphins. You got the hype. You were just on cloud nine. You know, you've played this game so well, and you want to just end it. You know, I totally get that. I've been there. And then you kind of overextend, and then the Vigar just drops a mountain on you. You know, in terms of that W, it just, but really well played from the side of Miami. NTSP was free hitting in that fight. You know, got all the room that he needed in order to win. But you know, as they started to chase, it kind of devolved into a clown fiesta, which is fine. You know what? Miami's still in the driver's seat. They have the soul that they need. They have the tankiness, and they can just kind of slowly push and end the game. All they need is one good fight, and that could spell that could be curtains for Western Michigan.
Right, and I think Miami's going to want to look for that fight before the next objective because we have Baron in 3 minutes, and you really don't want to get to Elder in 5 minutes.
Yeah, you don't want Vigar to have any more to kind of stack up his ability, because you know we saw what he was capable of just then with the cage. As long as he can get one stun reliably or anyone kind of trapped in that W, it's mad damage. He's
Right.
starting to scale.
We've also hit the peak for Miami right now as well, where Evil Lobster is so tanky, is so durable with all these shields. Look what just happened. He took
No
basically no damage matter combo with the cage and the Ezreal poke. Like nothing happens because Ivern E and even the Renata E. It's just so much.
Yeah. Yeah, so they are going to try and go Evil Lobster looking.
Like this shield just blocks everything.
Yeah. Where is Paldy Springer right
Paldy
now?
Springer is split pushing into the bot side of the map again. Miami just really needs to get through Western Michigan's base.
It's
Once
hard.
they're able to do that, it's really going to seal the game.
They have a lot of wave players, no Baron. So.
Right. I mean, but we're also back to the state we were just in. Pollock's not going to be pulled back by the Infernal Chains.
I mean, it's just so hard for them to kind of break in.
Oh,
could be a pick.
Up, and here comes the hit. To the hit, it's a big Drow ult, but it won't likely be enough. Here is just a cluster of things occurring. Ecolox is taken low as well. Shutdown goes back on the Evil Lobster from Meshi, but it won't be enough. He's taken low as well. Paldy Springer is tearing through the fight. It's a quadra kill for this Aatrox. And finally, we said one more fight, Miami is all they need, and they are going to take this series in 2 games. No caster curse this time with the 3 games.
You were close.
Was close. Great play from Miami, especially in this mid game, means that they will move up to 4-1 in ESC.
Yeah, Paldy Springer's like, I want this game over, and bam, just delivers the quadra kill on a silver platter. Really well played from Miami.
I mean, you said it.
Yeah.
Fantastic game. Another game where it felt like all around Miami was playing together and they were playing really tight.
Yeah.
Early game, there were a few times where Western Michigan would collapse and find these really good fights for them. But as we were talking about in cast, mid game, something happened.
There was a pep talk.
There was a pep talk. There was something where Miami, all of a sudden, they were playing as a group of 4 rather than splitting up.
Or 5.
Right.
Well, I guess 4 most of the time because Paldy Springer was in that side lane doing his own thing, and he was killing it.
Right.
So, you know, they knew what they had to do, and they did it. And they executed really well. They're like, okay, let's think back. How did we win the first game? And we saw the same kind of formula, stacking those objectives, stacking those dragons. Beautiful play. So
Right.
I'm really, really impressed, and I'm so happy to see them playing like a unit again and not letting that loss from last week get to them. Really amazing to see that.
Right, and Valencia on that Renata both games. Those
MVP.
hostile takeovers were huge, so critical to all the team fights that they were having. We saw in the first game there was really only one major team fight,
Yeah.
but in this game, a lot more team fighting around objectives.
It was hard to follow.
Right, there was a few fights where there was just a bunch of people grouped up.
Lots of abilities
so
flying
many
back
people to dive onto each other, but the sustain that Miami had with Quager's, Ivern, and the Renata.
Look at the shields. I mean,
it was huge.
I think I've never seen a Vigar get so neutralized late game because of these shields. And thinking of not even that, he was a battle Ivern. He was going and he was getting those picks. He was fighting people. He was
Right.
getting those autos down. despite building almost full, I think basically full support, he was fighting.
Right.
Beautiful.
So Miami moves up to 4-1 in ESC law while down to 2-3. Thank you so much for joining us today for this broadcast. We will be back on Wednesday at 8 p.m. for another game of ESC Law featuring your Miami University Redhawks. If you want more updates on all things Miami University esports, follow us at RedHawksGG on Twitter. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jason J. Allen.
And I am Devin the Doc. Oh,
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
bye bye.